All right, we've got here a 1977 PA32R300 known as a Piper Lance. It's powered by a Lycoming IO 540. Let's talk about this particular plane and why it could be a good plane for you. It seats 6. In this particular layout, you have the pilot and the co-pilot, and then you have 4 in the back in club seating. You've got a stabilator in the back. Typically, you've got, at this point, the changed wing tips from standard. So your landing light and your navigation lights are in the wingtip. It's got 4 fuel tanks, a total of 47 gallons a side. They are interconnected on the 77 Lance. So there's actually only 2 fuel positions, but you fill in this tank and it drains down to this tank with an interconnection. The fuel sending gauges are actually interconnected. So as it empties out, it adjusts the gauge. But fast plane, cruises about 150 knots, 155 plan. Retractable gear, so you do need to have retractable complex time and high performance time. So let's take a look inside. So the Lance, like all small Pipers or most small Pipers, you get in on a wing walk on the co-pilot side, and you get in and sit down. PA20, PA28, PA32 are all the same. You got pilot, co-pilot. Between the seats, you've got your flap handle, you've got your trim, and you've got your gear override. This plane will actually drop the gear in an emergency. Gear is held up by the pump, not held down. So if the gear doesn't go down, it will drop. So we can keep it overridden in this particular plane, so we don't have to deal with it. Your circuit breakers are down here. This particular plane has a fan in the rear that pumps air through these vents. Some of them do have an air conditioning unit in the back. You got your Hobbs meter, little glove box. There's your heat controls, your vacuum gauge. This particular one has an outside air temperature in Fahrenheit, centigrade, and voltage meter. It has a attitude reporter. This particular plane, it works okay. It was added on by a previous owner. CD player, which was added on by a previous owner. We have a CO detector, audio panel, GPS, COM1, NAV1, COM2, NAV2. This particular model has a Sandell 3308 versus just your standard 6-pack. It's a digital unit. It works with the auto control 3B, standard autopilot. Real good plane. Real easy to do. Your electrical switches that you use are right here on the left. You've got a little window so you can, clear prop. Also gives you some air in here with the scoop. Your ELT switch is here. It cruises 10,000 feet. 8,000 feet is fine, is the mixture for this one. But the big thing with this, compared to a lot of the smaller 6-seat planes you get, is the width, the cabin width. The Piper is wider than the Beechcrafts. And that makes it good, especially when you have 2 6'6" guys sitting in the plane. I'm 6'6", 250 pounds, and I can sit somebody beside me and have plenty of room. You've got a speaker. This is a valve to open and close your air coming through the tunnel. You've got lights overhead. This plane actually lights up pretty good at night. But avionics switches down here. Pretty nice plane, real easy to fly. So the cabin is what the PA32s are known for. So this has got a large cargo door. Your useful load's about 1,400 pounds. And this has got the club seating in it. So you've got plenty of room here in the back. The seats are removable. You have to do a weight and balance. Check your POH. We've got our trusty POH here, and it actually shows us what the weight and balance is with the seats removed and how to adjust it. So, I'm 6'6". For me to ride back here, it's not bad. Put my feet up. I probably don't want to ride with a couple other males, adult males that are big. But as you can see, my head touches in this back seat. But for a normal person, it's a good size. You know, people talk about the front and back seats. There's an option in this plane that you'll see here and there that has 6 seats or 3 sets of seats all facing to the front. I call them school bus seats. For me, most of the time you see pictures of people with those seats, they have this middle row taken out. The complaint people have is this that with someone tall in the front like me, the seats come back and you can't use this middle row. Well, typically nobody rides in there anyways. They want to face forward, and you're only typically carrying 6 passengers at a random time. This has got the refreshment center. So there's a little cooler in here. There's a box on the front. There's an alternative in these planes that some people have put in with an aluminum console by Sercorp, which is currently closed and out of business, but it allows you to put oxygen. There's no oxygen in this plane. On this particular plane, our headset jacks are here in the armrest and here between the seats. Sometimes you'll see them here on the side. Sometimes you'll see them on the door. Sometimes you'll actually see them down here in the center. They all work great. Everybody's got different options. You know, most of the time you're really flying with 2 to 4 people. It's a great hauler. You know, the joke is whatever you can fit in the doors, it'll fly, and that's pretty true. But true weight and balance is, you know, you're flying about 1,400 pounds of useful load, and you've got roughly 100 gallons of fuel if you're using all of it. Burns about 15 gallons an hour. Sometimes you can get it down to 14, but it's a great flyer. You know, 15 gallons an hour at 155 knots, you're getting there pretty quick. All right, so like we said, this has an IO 540 by Lycoming. This plane actually used to have turbochargers, normalizing turbochargers, and they were removed just because we couldn't get parts. It still has a vacuum system. We're running gammy injectors in this plane since we took the turbo off, but pretty much a bulletproof engine. We're also running a remote oil filter by Airwolf, but pretty bulletproof engine. Treat it right and it'll treat you good. The Lance also has a front storage compartment. Throw some bags in there, just don't throw some lobsters in there because they will cook. But other than that, it's a pretty roomy space, limited to 100 pounds in the front. So there you go. That's a quick walkthrough of a PA32R300, known as a Piper Lance. 76 to 77 was the Lance. Before that, it was the Cherokee 6. And after this, it was the Lance 2, which was a turbo T-tail, which a high tail. And then it was the Saratoga. It's the exact same airframe as a straight gear 32, 300 and 260, and the Saratogas. There are a little bit differences in the cowlings. These are great haulers for a family, for a business. They were known as check haulers. Like we said, it does 150 knots, typically all the time that you can plan for on 14 to 15 gallons an hour. Currently, the market is pretty hot for them, and they're selling for $175,000 to $250,000 with any kind of decent time in avionics. If you like our content, like and subscribe. Hope you all are doing well.